The floor is Representative McGinnis. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we're continuing today another grim tradition of the Keystone State, and that is deplorable pension legislation. The Perc process, which was part of that terrible Act 120, but the Perc process had as its aim that we each have a chance to get informed on the economic consequences of the legislation we're voting on. How can we be informed when we haven't had the Perc note at least since 1 p.m., and most of us have been busy then doing other things, so we've had no chance to review it. We have no chance to look at what the consequences economic are if the assumptions hold, and we have no chance to ask, what if those assumptions don't hold? They never have in the past. In the past, we've passed pension bills that were assumed to get investment returns of 7.5%. Didn't happen. In the past, we assumed we would fully fund our pensions. Didn't happen. In the past, we assumed that those benefits would be fixed. Didn't happen. And there's only one way the benefits go, and that's upward in this House, thanks to our Constitution. So anybody that thinks that there's some cap on the salary that's going to be into the defined benefit plan is just foolish. That $50,000 first-year figure grows at 3% a year. That's over $100,000 of salary before anybody's going to be put into a defined contribution plan. Give me a break. And the Perc note actually says the present value of the so-called savings of this plan is less than $200 million. We'll blow through that in the next 2 weeks in interest payments on the debt that the pension legislation of the past has given us. Let us grow up. Let's not continue the travesty of pension depredation that's forced on our taxpayers. This is no vehicle to solve our pension woes. It is centered on the very thing that caused our pension woes, the defined benefit plan. That's the core piece. That's the first $50,000 of salary this year, the first $53,000 next year, and so on until we get over $100,000. What new employee is going to get over $50,000 this year and not have their salary grow at less than $3,000 for the next 25 years? Come on. Anybody thinks or says that this is moving us into the 21st century with pension reform and we're doing something historic here with creating a defined contribution plan, you're crazy. You're deluding the taxpayers of this state. And we should not stand for it with this legislation done in this improper fashion where none of us get a chance to even look at the Perc note. And again, I repeat, the Perc notes were created to give us a chance to analyze the economic consequences of this issue. This Perc note arrived late. This Perc note's based on wrong assumptions. What are we doing here, even considering this? Come on. Do we have to repeat Act 9, Act 38, Act 40, and Act 120? Do we have to have one for the thumb when it comes to sticking it to the taxpayers of Pennsylvania? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.